War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. Hashtag War Room Pandemic on Twitter, and I even jumped into the YouTube live chat this morning. You can get to everything at warroom.org, and make sure you're signed up to the newsletter, warroom.org/newsletter. Jack Maxey, Jason Miller, Stephen K. Bannon, Raheem Kassam, and now Jérôme Rivière, member of the European Parliament for the National Rally Party from France.
Is that the old National Front?
The Front National.
Front Nationals. That's my deal. What I know the name changed. I'm sure it's working as a rebranding, but I kind of like the.
It is working.
I kind of like the way. I like it. I like the way Front National rolls off the tongue.
Jérôme, you're a committee member on some pretty top level assignments here, industry, security, defense, foreign affairs. So we wanted to get you on the show, especially given France's stated role in this whole thing, the Wuhan lab, Emmanuel Macron's a drastic decline in popularity over the last couple of weeks. Just when you thought he couldn't get less popular, Emmanuel Macron manages to make it happen again. Jérôme, walk us through right now. What are the key concerns for you on the security side of this thing? Because the French, we know, have been all tied up with what's taking place and where in the area, in the region where this virus came from. And number two, for the French people, why is Emmanuel Macron tanking?
Yeah, thank you, Raheem. It's good to be on the show with you because it is a global pandemic, so all countries are affected. Sadly, at this time, it shows that the ideas that the Front National and now today the National Rally have been advocating are ideas that make sense. It's basically what President Trump has done in the United States. We believe that nation states are the only structure that can protect the population, and nation states are the structure in which we can have safe havens. This crisis is demonstrating that the European Union is inefficient. We are right now with the French delegation, we're working on a black book of the European institution, because not only on subject on which they should have been able to do some things, they did not do it in proper time, following the Health Organization, that was following China. We know that now. So EU was extremely slow. And on subjects where they should not have taken any part, they slowed the response of the nation. And you can see nowadays that in Italy, EU is very unpopular. In France, EU is even more unpopular. And all this is linked to this crisis. Talking about China specifically, as you said, we are quite in a specific position in France. And you find some usual suspects. In 2004, when the first deal was signed between China and France, the foreign minister at the time was Barnier, who is the guy in charge of negotiating the Brexit for EU. So all the same players of this vast system that had a single idea to make a global world, to make all borders disappear, to enforce massive immigration, are tied up in this terrible pandemic. And a couple of days ago, I was attending a foreign affairs committee, in which the High Representative, Joseph Borrell, who is the High Representative for Foreign Affairs at the EU level, was acknowledging the fact that China was trying to influence some decision made by the European Union, but still was minimizing this influence. When you remember all the fuss that is done about foreign influence, we should be extremely worried about what China is doing right now in all European countries in order to minimize their responsibility in this crisis and to maximize the profit that they are trying to achieve from the crisis nowadays. So it is a specific thing that we have to tackle. And we want to investigate more into what happened in 2004, because when the visit was made to discuss the first deal between France and China, all the services gave a negative advice, telling President Chirac that they should not go through because there were too many uncertainties. And the politician at the time decided that they should go through. We need to understand more. And I see as a prime responsible the prime minister of the time, who is Jean-Pierre Raffarin. Jean-Pierre Raffarin was the prime minister, and now he has known ties with China. He has been sent by Macron several times in China to discuss with them. His personal implication with China need to be investigated, because he's the one at the time that made that deal possible against every single opinion of security agencies in France.
Jérôme, we got about a minute left, but here's the people in the United States, and particularly Trump supporters, and even the Democrats, the economic nationalists that listen to the show, we get upset when Macron lectures us all the time about the benefits of globalization. The Economist this week, I think, is maybe even thrown in the towel. They're saying, I think in their cover story, is it the end of globalism? Just very quickly, in a minute, talk to the American people about where does Macron sit with the French people now about how he's handled this pandemic?
Macron is at his lowest right now. You have to understand that he refused to close our borders all the way through. He refused. For the longest time, you could come from Spain and be treated as a hospital in the southwest of France, when at the same time, French people could not go to Spain. Same thing with Italy. Same thing with Belgium. He's such an advocate of free borders that he put the health of the French citizen in danger. You have to know, per 100,000 inhabitants, France casualties are 40 deaths for 100,000 French, when it is 25 deaths for 100,000 Americans. So the numbers have to be looked proportionally, and France is a disaster.
Jérôme, do you have a Twitter feed? How do people get more access to you?
Yes, Twitter feed is at Jérôme_Rivière.
We'll have it linked up on the site. I want to thank you for taking time away today to join us on War Pandemic. This is one of the Jérôme is one of the rising stars of the nationalist movement in Europe, and I'm telling you, they've got a great future ahead of him.